Hi, welcome. It's the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. Welcome to a brand new season. A few months ago in May, Manchester City were crowned Premier League winners. They went on to win the FA Cup and the Champions League, equaling Man United's haul of a historic treble. A few months on, we have to do it all over again. And so from today, 11th of August, till sometime in May 2024, the ups and downs, the drama, excitement, the high points and low points will be going on. Of course, the games are always live on Citi 97.3 FM, and this is the Premier League preview show that supports that coverage. My name is Nathan Kwar, and welcome to a brand new season, and it promises to be absolutely exciting as another Premier League campaign rolls by. It's the 2023-2024 Premier League season, and it will be fun. As usual, you can send in your messages via our WhatsApp number, and the WhatsApp number is on your screens, and then we can go through as many of your comments as possible. It's opening weekend, starting with the Friday night special at Turf Moor between Burnley and Manchester City. We'll go through the games a little later, but before we even get onto the drama on the pitch, there's a lot of drama to sort out in the boardrooms with the agents and with the players. We'll discuss all of that in a bit. This is still the Premier League preview show. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guests and we will start rolling. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. Let me welcome my guests for the very first show of the season. And I have a very interesting range of guests today. First up is Yao Frimpong. Yao, how are you doing?
I'm all right, Nick.
Looking sharp.
As always.
My other guest is Sydney Antonio. Sydney, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Looking sharp, yeah. As usual.
As usual. Ready to go.
And of course, let me get to the Zoom. Joining us from London, where a lot of crazy things have been happening in the last few days, is Rahman Osman. He writes with London World in the UK. Rahman, thank you so much for joining us, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you for bringing me to Accra without me having a plane ticket.
All right, that's wonderful. That's what technology does. Rahman, let me start off with you. I'll get to my guests in the studio in a second. But Rahman, in the last few hours, or let's say in the last 48 hours, we've experienced all kinds of drama. At one point, Harry Kane was not going to Bayern Munich. He said he was going to stay. And then on Friday morning, the story turned on its head. He is going to Bayern Munich. We heard stories of a hold-up at the airport, but it looks like that's been cleared. So he is going to Bayern Munich. First of all, can you just explain to us what exactly has happened and why Kane initially decided to stay and why he's eventually decided that, you know what, I'm going to the Bundesliga to go play for Bayern Munich?
That's a lot of questions, but I'm going to try to break them down from the perspective of what I know, because I've covered Kane for the last 4 years. I know him personally behind the scenes, and the kind of person he is. He's quite a really ultimate professional. Kane, in the last few years, has developed from just being a striker who's kind of really rated in the Premier League to becoming one of the best strikers in the world. But this is a situation where Tottenham find themselves. The chairman, Daniel Levy, has always made it clear that Kane was never going to be sold. He gave him maybe the biggest contract he's ever given anybody in Tottenham. And Kane himself has paid that back by scoring a lot of goals. He's got 213 Premier League goals, 47 behind Alan Shearer's all-time Premier League record. And by the way, that's a big, big deal, becoming the all-time Premier League top scorer. Now, Tottenham pride themselves in Harry Kane. If you think about Tottenham, what comes to your mind first? Surely Harry Kane.
That's true.
He's England captain. He's England top scorer. He's Tottenham's top scorer. He's closing in on the Premier League's long-standing record. So Kane is Tottenham. So Spurs never wanted to sell. Now, this is where it gets complex. Kane signed a contract 5 years ago. Now, in that contract, it's left to 12 months. Kane has said that at this point, he's not thinking of signing a new deal. What it means is that he could walk away for free, absolutely nothing, in 12 months. So Levy has been boxed into a corner where he has to start thinking, do I take money for him now that I can, or risk it and lose it everything? And that's a big decision. It's a decision he was willing to take, risk everything, until Bayern came into the picture. And Bayern then decided to throw good money. Started from 60, went to 80, and I'm told they've now paid almost 100 million euros for Harry Kane. Now, bear in mind, Harry Kane is 30 the span of a footballer's life, mostly at the top level, anything beyond 30, you begin to decline. But Bayern are willing to do that. Now, Bayern have a lot of money at this point because they got Sadio Mane, who they signed for a lot of money
Yeah.
from Liverpool out of the wage bill. So there's space in the wage bill for another top tier striker, and that's where Kane comes in. They're offering him around 20 million pounds net, not gross, net take home.
Wow.
Kane is happy with that. Now, the question with Harry Kane in point being that why is he leaving now and why was he not really concerned about signing a new deal at Tottenham? One reason is that Kane knows for sure that if he stays at Tottenham for just 12 months, half of that he could agree even a bigger deal with a club in Europe in 6 months. If that doesn't happen in 12 months, he can walk away at 31, go to United, or even possibly City, or even Real Madrid as a free agent. What that means is more money for him. So Spurs have looked at every situation and said, okay, if we can get 100 for him, considering the age, considering the situation we find ourselves, it makes sense to sell Harry. Harry, if he goes now, he makes more money, goes to a team that easily will win the Bundesliga, a team where the bookmakers have said this season is only second behind City to win the Champions League. So it's win-win for everyone involved. Bayern gets a striker who is easily maybe the best in the world. I think Kane is the best in the world. And I know a lot of people will say Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe. But I see Kane play and he does things Haaland can only dream of. Can play middle. And you saw Wayne Rooney. Kane can do what Rooney used to do at his peak.
Yeah.
Play midfield, create
Drop
goals,
deep and be a number 10.
Yeah, he does all of them. Spurs, instead of losing everything, will get almost 100 million for all their trouble. And Bayern also get a good striker. So everybody gets to walk away smiling.
Final question on Harry Kane before we talk about Moises Caicedo. How a person like Ange Postecoglou, I'm sure he had Harry Kane in his plans. He planned with Kane in mind for the season. Kane looks like he's leaving. What happens to Spurs? Are they thinking of options to replace Spurs? What has Ange Postecoglou said? And what have you picked up concerning possible replacements for Harry Kane?
So Angie's coming at the backdrop of Spurs trying really proven managers. And I think when Pochettino left in 2019, they brought in Jose Mourinho. After Mourinho, I think they brought Nuno, who wasn't quite proven.
Yeah.
Then from Nuno went to Antonio Conte. And Conte was supposed to be the proven winner, had won leagues everywhere he went, including Chelsea. But that didn't work. Now, Angie, for those who've been following Scottish football, was a man on the rise. He won the treble with Celtic, and he plays a kind of football where Spurs fans love. When he first came, we had a first press conference with him, and he stated that one of the things that has made him incredibly successful everywhere he's been is that he normally creates a team where it's relied on everyone, not just one individual. And even though he highlighted the importance of having a game changer like Harry Kane, he emphasized on the point of building a team that had principles of playing for each other. So Spurs will get a lot of money, but how do you replace Harry Kane? Now, to put this into perspective, Spurs finished 8th last season without any form of European football, but Kane still got 30 goals. Only Haaland scored more. So you can't do a like-to-like replacement. What they've got, though, is Richarlison, who is Brazil's number 9. Now, that's a big deal. Now, to be Brazil's number 9, it's a big deal for anybody. So they've got Richarlison, who they got from Everton last season. They've signed James Maddison from Leicester, who is quite really exciting and can do great things in the ball. And they've got Son Heung-min, in my estimation, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. So they're stuck. I think that if they set up well, now everybody goes 4-3-3, that's literally a top 3 that can strike fear in half of the Premier League teams. And now they have a lot of money to take their time and go down to leagues, maybe the Champions League, and get a very interesting player. If I was speaking to Livy, I'll say, Livy, look at the Brentford striker Ivan Toney in January. Toney is really good.
Well, we'll see. Tony's on a ban. He returns in the new year. We'll see if Spurs will be interested. Let's talk about the other topic, Moises Caicedo. Between last night and today, we've had several developments of that story. Liverpool placing a bid. It looked like the player was going there. he says he now wants to go to Chelsea. Roman, one, what is the actual situation? And two, how do you think the situation will eventually resolve itself between now and maybe early next week or through the weekend?
Yeah, I've just come out of a press conference with Pochettino, and it was funny. I've never seen a Liverpool versus Chelsea game that's been started playing 3 days ago. Liverpool will play Chelsea.
They meet on Sunday, but the drama has already begun.
Already started, because it's funny is because Liverpool have all summer been interested in Romeo Lavia at Southampton, and Chelsea have all summer been interested in Moises Caicedo. Now, 3 days ago, Chelsea attempted to hijack Liverpool's deal in Romeo Lavia by bidding 48 million, just 2 million short of what Southampton wanted. Liverpool at that time, publicly, were not even interested in Caicedo. And then last night, they come in and then they blow up the whole transfer to 111 million. Then Moises Caicedo would already agreed personal terms with with Chelsea about 3 months ago. Is in London trying to get a move to Chelsea. And he's been told now that Brighton have agreed a deal with Liverpool. Now, a few hours after that breaks up, there's also news that he prefers to go to Chelsea on basis of principles, that he'd already told Chelsea that he was going to be with them. But the problem now is Chelsea didn't want to spend 100 million on Moises Caicedo. And this is where the problem has always been all summer. Chelsea spent 105 million on Enzo Fernandez, who was amazing for Argentina at the World Cup. They didn't expect to sell N'Golo Kante, because Kante had injuries last season, but they expected him to be at the club. But then Saudi Arabia happened, a lot of money for both Chelsea and the player, so he had to leave. Mason Mount wanted to leave, he had to go. They had to reduce the wage bill, so Mateo Kovacic had to leave. Chelsea need midfielders. Moises is 21, got his whole career ahead of him, but to spend another 100 million on him after spending 100 million on Enzo was just ridiculous and goes against everything Chelsea were trying to do. But now they've boxed themselves into a box where now they even have to spend more than the 100 they didn't have to, because Liverpool have offered more than that 100. Brighton are laughing to the bank and saying, we told you, pay 100, you didn't want to. Somebody's coming and paid 111. If the player wants to play for you, you either have to equal that or go above that. As we speak now, and we asked Pochettino this, he said he doesn't know, he doesn't want to speak about it, because as we speak, Moises is still a player of Brighton. He doesn't have the right to speak about someone's player. So this is where we are. Brighton have accepted Liverpool's bid. Chelsea have gone to the 100 they didn't want to, but that's still short of the money Brighton want.
Wow, what a development. We'll see how it plays out in the next few days. We'll see where Moises Caicedo's head is when the season starts. But man, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. It's always fun talking to you. I'm sure we'll chat some more during the season.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was Rahman Osman. He writes for LondonWorld.com. Guys, and this drama is so fascinating. I mean, we all thought the transfer window was about to end peacefully and quietly. Little did we know that there was drama left in store. Yeah, I'm sure you've been following the story.
Actually, it's actually been quite interesting because my dad's a Liverpool fan, and he thought they've got something special. And a few hours later, well, it's gone again. But then for Liverpool, it's probably a strategic move. Probably they needed to let Southampton know, look, we've got other options. We even spend more.
I see.
So are you ready to accept the bid or not? So this might move things in motion in terms of Latvia or other alternatives. And even with the squad they've got right now, I think a DM, the way they want to play, they've got players that could play in that role, but they don't have to be defensive midfielders, and it'll work for them.
I see. Interesting thoughts. Sydney, Yao makes a point. He says Liverpool can function the way they want to function without a defensive midfielder. Do you agree? Because some people say that when they had Fabinho, they had extra security, and now where their defense is beginning to age with Van Dijk and all of that, do you think they can look within and find a replacement, or they need to spend money and bring in a specialist?
I see Yao's point, but I still believe they need to get somebody in. Because if you look at the trend of their recent preseason games, the back has just been awful. They've conceded every game they conceded 3 in one game, 4 in another game, 2 in another game, and it's not looking very good. And bear in mind, this is a new look midfield they are assembling. So Bosley just came in, McAllister just came in, and they have some of these younger boys. Harvey Elliott is still around, Curtis Jones. This is not a set. You have, of course, Thiago Alcantara, who is now finding his feet after his bouts of injury last season. So I think they still need somebody because they are tried and tested generals in the midfield. Henderson, Fabinho, they're all not there again. And it's kind of, it's rebuilding the midfield. And straying too far from your established principles when you are now trying to start a new thing, it could go against them horribly. And as we have seen the preseason, it's not gone well so far. And I believe that is why they found it expedient to bet that huge amount of money for Caicedo.
All right, so now if Caicedo were here, which of the two teams would you advise him to sign for?
Easily Chelsea.
Chelsea.
He walks into the first 11 and he's actually going to be part of the rebuild in the sense that they could build a team around him. He goes to Liverpool, he's just part of the system. If it's not going well, they will find an alternative to you. And mind you, Liverpool's got Trent, who I think this season will see him move into the midfield.
Not necessarily as a destroyer.
Not as a destroyer, but the way they want to play in transitions, he would get the ball away into the attacking phase quicker. And that is what Liverpool will be looking for. They don't need necessarily someone who's just going to break wood or destroy every ball that's going in the middle. So Fabinho will be missed, but I think they've got enough quality in there not to be too worried.
I see. Sid?
Chelsea. There's no way as a United fan I'm telling someone to go to Liverpool. It's not going to happen because I feel, looking at the team Liverpool have, if they add Caicedo, they're going to be a problem because they have a lot of good pieces. I feel he's a cog who, if we're added in the team, is going to make everything click. So him not being there, I'm happy for it. Chelsea are now rebuilding him. It's a whole new team. So I think as a United fan, I'll be more comfortable with him going to Chelsea than to Liverpool right now.
Interesting thoughts. You can send in your messages on the WhatsApp number that will display on your screen. This is a Premier League preview show on Citi TV. You can send in your messages on 020-444-7033, 020-444-7033. Now, guys, talking about transfers, Saudi Arabia has disrupted everything. They're just plucking people's players. Just a quick one. Do we think that, looking at the number of players who have left and have gone to Saudi Arabia, do you think that there's a dip in quality, or you don't think it will have an effect on next season's campaign?
Quality, not really. You find that the best players are still in Europe and America. But then you can also say with Saudi, what they're trying to do is they're trying to become relevant. They're trying to put themselves in the spaces that you would see them, so that the commercial deals, the TV deals, you can see it's moving towards a way that they could become a mainstream league that people pay attention to. But in terms of quality, I'm not saying these players are washed up, but they're just getting 30 plus. Everyone there that has gone there is at the end of their career. They've seen that there's a bit of money to be made over there. Why not? I've got the ability. But you still realize these players are playing in teams where they're playing with 6, 7, 8 Saudi players. So it's still not European standard.
Okay.
So they would compete well, but maybe they'll be top 5 by the end of the season. Top 5 leagues.
Top 5 leagues.
They'll be in the top 5, but not top.
Interesting. Sydney, of all the players that have moved to Saudi Arabia, which one caught you off guard? Which transfer to Saudi Arabia really surprised you?
Caught me off guard, I would say Ruben Neves, because I wasn't expecting him to go there. Seeing as Yao has just said, most of the players go in there nearing the zenith of their careers and stuff, but he is somebody who was still, you can say he's still on the up. I think he had a future in Europe and he chose to go there. So I was quite a bit off guard, but come on, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth and just say no to it. They're offering him a king's ransom to come there. So I'm not surprised he took that chance. If I were given the opportunity,
I'm out of Ghana.
I don't straight up. So yeah, I see the point. And going back to your point about the quality, I side of Yao's point. The best players are still where they are. Obviously you lose the likes of the Kantes, the likes of
Koulibaly,
they are good players. They have added some color, some flavor to the league when they were here. But you can see for most of them, they have either achieved all they could, or they have come to a point where you feel there's nothing more to be done again. So top 5 leagues will be a stretch. I think they'll still be lingering around top 20. No, it's just that the hype is there. Everybody's interested. Everybody don't see big names battling head to head. So the hype is there, but the quality of the league, I still think it leaves a lot to be desired.
All right, let's move on. Let's stay with some transfers. Guys, let's talk about Arsenal and Kai Havertz. Because after the Community Shield, even though Arsenal won, a lot of the Arsenal fans were looking at Kai Havertz and wondering whether or not that move made sense. But why did Arsenal even make such a move?
Well, it's because of the way Arteta is moving. He's trying to build a team that is flexible, a team that has alternatives in terms of how they attack, and he's looking at players that would enrich the squad. You don't want to go buy another number 9. You've got Gabi Jesus, you've got Balogun, you've got Edin Ketia, Trossard, who could also play in there. So you want someone he's a number 8, number 10, he can play as a false 9. And even in Arsenal, his best games that I've watched so far, he's actually played as one of the 2 number 8s behind the striker.
Okay.
And you realize that he was very effective. At Chelsea, we didn't see the best of him because he didn't get the chance to do that. He was forced to play as a number 9 because they had no alternatives. So here he will thrive. And with Arteta's philosophy similar to Pep's, where he's trying to move his fullbacks into central midfield, having more to turn your 4-3-3 into a 3-2-5, it will work for Kai Havertz.
Sydney?
Yeah, I think I said as well. You know, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know, the league is and you also have Champions League coming. You have the cup games, and what beat Arsenal last season was the lack of depth, lack of quality depth when push came to shove, and they had to kind of really push Man City. They didn't have the extra horsepower to kind of push them there. So Havertz comes in, I think, to come and help complement them. But I wonder if they wouldn't have been served better getting somebody who already had, you know, a wind of form behind him, because Havertz, we all know his struggles with Chelsea. Although he did get the winning goal in the Champions League, you can see that's been his only, point of note in his 2 or so years at Chelsea. So I wonder if they wouldn't have been better served getting somebody who already had, you know, this form around him, or who already had, you know, he already was already motoring, I would say. And gambling on Kai Havertz is not a bad thing. You saw what he could do at Leverkusen. He obviously has it in him to produce the goods at the highest table. So let's see what we'll do for them. My jury, I think for me, the jury is still out on that one, but I see the sense in what they are doing.
The only thing I will say concerning the Kai Havertz deal is I'm quite surprised Arsenal paid that much.
Amount, yes.
Because they were the only team really asking for him. And I thought that was a good point, a good leverage on which you could stand and say, you know what, please bring the price down. Because 65 million.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
That was a bit much. All right, let's move on to Manchester City. They are defending champions. They are hoping to win the Premier League for the 4th time, and that has never been done. Not even the great Man United have won 4 in a row in the Champions League, but they are in the Premier League, sorry. But Pep Guardiola and his men are hoping to do so. And they've been a little quiet in the window. They lost Riyad Mahrez, lost Ilkay Gundogan, but they've spent money on just one player, Josko Vardiol, and he is the player who's coming. We'll talk a bit more about Josko Vardiol right after this break. This is still the Premier League preview show. We are looking ahead to the opening day of the season. Lots of transfer drama we've discussed. We'll get through a lot more right after this short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Today I have Yao Frimpong and Sydney Antonio as my wingmen. Guys, before the break, we were talking Manchester City. They spent £77 million on Josko Vardiol, Croatian defender. We saw him at the World Cup. Of course, the Messi moment wasn't his greatest, but that's fine. We'll give him that. Why is he signing defenders? What's like? Is that a new thing? Signing defenders? Because he's lost Riyad Mahrez. He's lost Ilkay Gundogan. The thinking is that you replace those two. Of course, Mateo Kovacic has come in, but why is he spending that much money on Vardiol?
So I'll say, if you look at the way Pep was approaching his games last season, there was more onus on the defenders to defend, as opposed to the attacking or the wide men helping out in defense. Because last season they were less susceptible to the counter-attacks as compared to the seasons before, where when you have the likes of Liverpool's, likes of United catching them on fast breaks and stuff. Now they have defenders positioned at the right places to deal with these threats, and he's going with defenders who don't just play centre back, who can also play on the left, can also play on the right. So wherever you find yourself, I mean, you are well positioned to intercept any impending counter attack. So previously, it was kind of the job on the wingers to actually help out the defenders doing that. But it's getting defenders who can defend, not the ball playing type who they'll leave the ones who can defend and they are there, they know what to do, they know how to approach an oncoming Vinicius, oncoming Rashford, to intercept. It's helped them last season. I think on the back of that, he's getting Guardiola, who, as you have said, he's I would say the most promising young defender we have in world football right now, although the Messi moment was there, but who hasn't had the Messi moment? All the top guys have got the Messi moment. So that in no way speaks against his quality. He's still a very good defender, and we can see he's not uncomfortable in the wide spaces, as we see with Nathan Ake, as we see with John Stones, as you see with Kyle Walker, who can also play as a centre back. And so I think Pep is going with what worked for him last season. With respect to the wingers, I hear he's following Michael Olise, so following Jeremy Doku, the streaky young Belgian, the really fast guy. So they can come and replace Mahrez. As you have said, Kovacic has already come in to replace Gundogan. Although they are not the same type of player. Kovacic offers a different thing, has a different skill set, but a skill set that can also be beneficial to Pep Guardiola and the way he sets up the team. So I'll not be too concerned about the fact that he's only signed Guardiola. There's still about a month left. Who knows? I think yesterday I was hearing they're bidding for Lucas Paqueta. So who knows what else they can spring up before the transfer window ends. So I won't be too concerned for Pep Guardiola right now.
Yeah, do Man City feel lighter?
Losing, Mahrez came up with some top goals when they needed them. The last 6 games of the season, we saw what Gundogan.
Super Gundogan.
Yeah, he turned into like a prime David Silva. That is what he was there for. But I think Pep he's always a step ahead. He's looking at the fact that, look, he's got Ruben Diaz, he's got John Stones, he's got Laporte, who he's not seen the best of in the last season or so. He's got Ake, he's got Kyle Walker. He's
got Akanji now.
Akanji. Yeah. I believe he's preparing for Walker's exit. That's what I think.
I see.
It's more of Walker is committed, but he doesn't want the situation where player wants to go and he has to beg you to stay. If you don't want to be part of his project, fine, you can go. Akanji would step in there easily. Rico Lewis is a natural. He's a right back. Mm-hmm. He's gonna grow. He's gonna be developed a bit more. But for their centre back positions, I think he's thinking more of how he wants to play next season. So he's going to try different things. We saw John Stones stepping up, joining the midfield, being a part of the attacking phase. And that is probably why he's gone for this Croatian player. He's trying his best to get people that can defend, and he doesn't have to worry too much. Maybe this season we're going to see 2-3-5. He's not going to have 3 other back. He's going to have 2 solid defenders who he knows they can run, they can cover the ground. He's fast. He's able to take one-on-ones as well. So that is probably the mentality. He wants to make the football more exciting for his team. When you are winning everything, the next thing to do is to create something, and he's going to try something ridiculous. And we've not seen the best of Kovacic so far, and maybe he's just trying to ensure that he's got a solid backline, that even if those in the middle are not pulling their weight, he's not going to concede.
I see.
So he's just making sure he's protecting what he's got so far.
Wow, we'll see how it plays out. Manchester City start their campaign against Burnley at Turf Moor, which is tonight. They come up against their former captain, Company, who's now managing Burnley. And Burnley are playing some very high-risk football these days. A complete contrast to the Sean Dyche days where it was 11 men behind the ball and long ball all the way through. Let's get to the red side of Manchester. And they have also been spending money. The rumors are that they are not done spending. They have a lot more money to spend in the window. But so far, they've brought in Andre Onana, Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund. And like I said, the rumors are pointing to Sofiane Amrabat and defender Jean-Claude Todibo and all these other guys. last year we saw Man United finishing third. With all these additions they've made and potential additions, does it suddenly raise the bar for them? Do they now have to push for the title, or they are still some distance away from a proper title challenge?
Oh, Nathan, third it was last season, third it shall be this season. I don't see United going higher than third because they are assembling.
But maybe with more points.
Maybe with more points, yes, because I still believe Arsenal and Man City are somewhere ahead of them when it comes to their progression as a team and what they want to do and where they want to get to. Ten Hag is in the second season. I mean, we saw his imprint on the team last season. We saw what he was trying to do. He brought in some guys to help him do that last season. He has brought in more this season. Just in the preseason matches, we can see the way, or you can see what Onana has brought in the sense of building up for the back, being more comfortable, drawing the opposition in and playing around them. Although we have one or two howler moments like we saw with, I won't say it was his fault, the lob, I mean, getting beat from almost halfway, it wasn't his fault, but that's the risk you take where your defender, I mean, your keeper is placed in the defender's position averagely throughout the whole game. So, yeah, we are seeing what Ten Hag is doing. I'm quite excited to see what Rasmus Højlund will bring. He said his name is Højlund. What's Højlund? So, Højlund, yeah, what he will bring to the table. He's fast, he's aggressive, he's not, I won't say he's a very accomplished finisher right now, but he's just 20 years. I'm not expecting fireworks from him, but I'm expecting him to be a hard worker, to run the channels, to link with Marcus Rashford and also Anthony. And he has one of the best, I would say the second best creator in Europe right now, Bruno Fernandes, right behind him. Who knows? Having such an expert supplier can also boost your game when it comes to these things. So I see, I don't know what he's trying to say, but it's a fact. If you look at the stats, Bruno Fernandes is just behind Kevin De Bruyne in Europe, in England, when it comes to creating big chances and creating chances in general. Last season, we didn't have any good striker to put. We had this, what was his name? Weghorst. Flailing about and missing chances. And Rashford did do his best, but he's obviously not a striker. So putting somebody there who at least is a striker, who has a nice body of work behind him and has the potential to do more. It'll be interesting to see how far the team can go.
All right, let's run the rule over the signings, those that have come in. Yeah, your thoughts on Højlund? Does he answer a question? What is it that he's going to do for Man United?
I think he's going to offer potential, a future as a prospect that United have signed. He's not a finished article. He's definitely coming in to learn, and it might be frustrating for United fans, but I think in a year or two, United will be reaping the benefits of getting such a young boy. Onana, yeah, we've seen what he's done, but United, Ten Hag has a way he wants to play, and he wants to try and push the football into the opponent's half. There's risks involved in that, but again, it's a good signing for United. It will probably push them further in terms of closing off certain games, getting certain points. But I'm a bit concerned about the signings in the sense that United were poor away. They were very poor away. And I've not seen people that are combative, that are coming in to try and change that. So United probably need to work on their away form more than getting players in. Yeah.
I see. Finally, Mason Mount is one player who's divided. I won't say a lot of people think he wasn't needed. Why has Erik Ten Hag spent 55+ million on Mason Mount? Your thoughts on him and what does he do in this Man United? Why has he been brought in?
So Nathan, we're talking about a player who has been a 2-time Chelsea player of the season.
Yeah.
And Chelsea claim to be one of the biggest teams in the world, and you have a player who was your best player for 2 years, and now all of a sudden he's not good again. Come on, the guy has something he can bring to the table.
I see.
He's not the star player. He won't be the player with all the spotlight on him, but he can do certain things. You know, he out of possession, he's very good. He can close down. He can keep it tidy. He can split the possession. I mean, he can keep it ticking. He can contribute goals, contribute assists, just not be the main source of goals and assists.
Okay.
If Mason Mount gets a season with 9 goals in the season and maybe 9 or 8 assists, which is very possible, I don't think that's a bad return for somebody in this position. Seeing as he's come to take the place of Eriksen, who got about 6 assists, about 3 goals or so last season. So that's a step up. The only place you would see a differential is the creativity. I mean, Eriksen's a very creative guy. But that just puts more burden on Bruno, and I think he has wide enough shoulders to accept that creative burden and do more. So I don't think Mount. The problem I have with the Mount Casemiro combination is we are not seeing somebody who can really possess the ball and redistribute and control the tempo of the game. So with those two guys with Bruno, it can be a bit of a hot plate match. Nobody
wants the ball.
to grasp the ball. That would be my concern. Wow. But Mount as an individual, he has his qualities. We have seen what he can do in the past. He has offered enough to show that he can do something. Just not as a main character, as a supporting character. I think he's not that bad.
Okay, all right. We'll see how it plays out. Man United have officially brought in Rasmus Højlund, and he's been teaching everybody how to pronounce his name. So one of these days we'll play that. Højlund, I hear the D silent. Mason Mount, Andrew. Like I said, United are still pursuing players. Guys, let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Raman spoke about how the team would look now that Kane is obviously on his way to Bayern Munich. But just a quick word on Spurs, and then we talk about Mauricio Pochettino.
I believe we'll see something different this year. We're not saying it's Brendan Rodgers, but Ange did something special at Celtic. Yeah. And the way he played, you could see it was a team effort. It didn't rely on individual talents too much.
Okay.
And what he's trying to do with Spurs, the players he's got in Maddison, Solomon, these people would want to work. And I'm certain that they would move in a forward direction. But top six will be a push. But they will perform a lot better than they did last season.
Sydney, can Spurs break top six?
Top six, I think so.
Because Kane is taking all his goals away now.
Definitely
all
can.
30 from last season.
They can, but I would say the main factor for that won't be Postecoglou. It will be the exit of some players like Hugo Lloris and co, who I believe they're holding the team back with their poor performances. You are the leaders of the team, and when the team needs you to lead, you are nowhere to be found. Yeah. And I think I'll even put Kane in that category. So, I don't think he has been very good, as a striker and stuff, but it goes more than that. This is a game of men. You are coming against like a battle. You have to have that personality, that forcefulness. I don't see it from some of the Spurs leaders. So, taking some of them out won't be that bad. Let's see what the new boys can do. And probably good days ahead for Tottenham Hotspur.
All right, we'll see. Let's move on to Chelsea, Mauricio Pochettino's new club. We just spoke about his former club, Tottenham Hotspur. And Chelsea have a new look now. It's a team made up of youngsters, a team made up of players who are trying to get pieced together so they form a new crop, a new generation of Chelsea players. Guys, you've seen the profile, and we'll talk about the profile a little bit, but here's Mauricio Pochettino. That's his managerial profile. 598 matches, 292 games won, 129 drawn, 177 lost, and 1.68 points per game if you work the math. So this is Mauricio Pochettino. This is what he brings to the Chelsea job.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, so that means that they are looking at getting about 60 points next season.
Well, if you want to look at that,
I'm just trying to do the math.
So I'm trying to do but extrapolate numbers.
That is very concerning, because this is a team that they've gotten in. They spent a lot of money, but they've gone for youth over experience, established players, and I think that's where they might falter. Pochettino, great manager by some standard, he's won some trophy now. But
don't do this to me.
But I believe he's not got the players that will make it happen for him. He's got young boys. He's got people that they are now coming into the Premier League. He's got Thiago Silva, but he's now got people that have to adapt to the league. It's exciting watching them over the summer series. You can tell they can do something special. It'll be exciting football, but exciting football with a lot of problems in terms of inexperience, and that might cost them. They don't have the best output in the forward line. Sterling, someone who scored 12 goals last season, which is Jackson. They've not got enough going forward. So in terms of converting chances, I'm concerned. In terms of protecting leads too, I'm concerned. So the inexperience might be their downfall this season.
Interesting. Sydney, Chelsea don't have the distraction of European football. Some people think that it will help them as they try to rebuild. Some people think it may even give them a bit of an advantage. But what do you think they can make of the season? Looking at how young the team is, there's Pochettino who's walked into a new job. What do you think their season could potentially look like?
Ethan, I think they have very high prospects, I would say, because I'm a big fan of Mauricio Pochettino. I think he's done a very good job you can see his body of work from Espanyol to Southampton, coming to Spurs. I mean, he has taken a step up every time and he has delivered, albeit for a bit of a wobble at PSG, but he did win what some would say some trophy. But it's still a trophy, he still won something over there. So, I mean, he's done well. And I would say let him do what he has to do. I believe Chelsea have very good youngsters right now. Let Pochettino, because you can see over his career, he's been somebody who can be molding these young talents, has been using them to do some good things. Let him have that chance, give him that free rein, because I believe when I watch their preseason, the summer series, the likes of Andre Santos, this other Andre winger, also very good. Chukwemeka, I think, is a very good prospect. Jackson was hounding people down on the wings, and he did put up some very clinical finishes. So it's not that bad, and I think Chelsea fans shouldn't be too depressed because, as you have said, there's no European football to come and distract them. I mean, it's laser vision, tunnel vision. They know what they are going for, and I think it will come up good for them this season. Just that they should leave the leadership to Thiago Silva, not to Rhys James, because I don't see what leadership is going to lead. But let Thiago Silva lead the boys, and I'm sure he'll lead them to victory.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. Chelsea, they start off their season with a very interesting home game against Liverpool. We'll talk about that and a lot more. We'll zone in on the fixtures right after this break. This is still the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwa. I'm here with Sydney Antonio and Yao Frimpong. All right, let's get into the on-pitch action now. Let's have a look at the fixtures for game week 1. It starts all over again. Game week 1. Let's have a look at the fixtures. There you have them. Lovely, lovely, lovely games to start us off. And it begins Friday night, Burnley versus Man City. On Saturday at 11:30 a.m., like the football followers say, fear the early kickoff. Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton and Luton. So Luton are back in the division after how many years away from the top flight. Everton, Fulham, Sheffield are also back, and their new manager. They take on Crystal Palace. Newcastle face Aston Villa. Very interesting game from St. James's. And then on Sunday, it's Brighton versus Brentford versus Spurs. Chelsea, Liverpool, which is all of a sudden the game of the week because of the drama. And then on Monday night, Manchester United start off their new campaign or their second season under Eric Ten Hag against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who until yesterday or so had their manager, Julian Lopetegui. He's moved on. Gary O'Neill, ex-Bournemouth boss, has taken over at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Guys, this is... if you had done the show yesterday, the question I would have asked you was that, okay, Burnley and Man City, and probably Man United and Wolves. But all of a sudden, this is Chelsea, Liverpool. Yeah. We all want to watch because of the transfer shenanigans. Yeah. It's very, very incredible things happening.
Yeah, very, 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 very incredible. And I, for one, can't wait for the first blow of the way. So enough of the telenovelas and a reality show on Saturdays. The Premier League football is back, and I can't wait for it to get started. Obviously, we are playing this evening. And looking at the fixtures, I mean, very balanced, very interesting games. Then, as I have said, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, we all can't wait to see what's going to happen. And I just pray that Chelsea get the signing done in time and presents him before the game starts. It will just crown everything off so beautifully. So yeah, we're waiting for it to kick off, and yeah, I think it will be very good.
Interesting. Games. Yeah, your thoughts on Chelsea, Liverpool. Then we can highlight some of the other games.
That should be exciting purely because we want to see if Pochettino is actually ready to be back in the Premier League.
Wow.
If he can handle the new energy that Klopp is going to come with, then maybe his boys can do something special.
I see. We start off with this very interesting game between Burnley and Man City. We've seen Burnley under different managers, but under Vincent Kompany, they seem to have evolved completely, passing the ball out of the back. They are very daring. I read a very interesting stat that said that when they played under Sean Dyche, they played, they did 10 plus passing sequences, about 10 to 100, whatever. But the difference under Kompany is so huge. Yeah. And So the question is, do you think they should stick to that style in this division, even though it could cost them, or they should modify it?
Certainly, we saw Company against a couple of Premier League teams last season, and he wasn't too bad. He could hold his own, but doing it over a whole season, some blunders will come in there. So he needs to be a bit cautious. You can take a chance when you're playing Sheffield United, but when you're playing Man City, Man United, Chelsea, certainly you have to be a bit more pragmatic
Arsenal,
over there.
Cool.
Arsenal is not really.
Why?
It's not. Burnley will certainly beat Arsenal.
I see. So the same question: if you were Company, would you stick to the principles that got you here?
Yes, most definitely, because they are playing an attractive.
Even when it could come at a price.
It could, but it's going to come against. I mean, half of the league they'll be able to beat with this style, because the league, most of the teams come and change the way they play, and they become very defensive. And come on, if you are going to play, might as well put your best foot forward. You can't just stay behind and pack your men back and expect to just bring something. Look at Leeds. Leeds came in the league. They played the way they were playing previously. They survived. I mean, after that, things happened.
They survived. Eventually, it caught up with them.
It might catch up with them later, but for this season, let them. We want to see some beautiful football being played. Enough of the hoof ball and this haram ball and all that. Let's play the beautiful game as supposed to be played. Let them come out. Let them possess the ball. Let us see, Turf more baying for blood once again, because we have had enough of this Shondash type of football, and let's see something more exciting.
Guys, let's talk about the two teams who went for the title last season, Arsenal and Man City. Last weekend we saw the Community Shield. Arsenal won. Some people think that is the kind of kick City needs to remind them that Arsenal would want their hands on the Premier League title. Yeah, so do you think they will look at each other from day one and run the race? You get the point, like focus on each other?
I think everyone's going to be looking over their shoulder, but for City, their focus always remains on them. They know Arsenal pushed them to the end, but then they'll be concerned about what Brighton is doing, what Liverpool's doing, what Man United are doing. They would be looking at those teams, but they would focus on their own philosophy, just trying to ensure it's not an embarrassing first day for the champions, and take it a day at a time. Maybe after 5 games, then we'll know a bit more about how they'll approach the rest of the season.
Interesting. 10 games to start of the weekend. So we've ticked off the Burnley Man City one, ticked off Chelsea Liverpool. Which other games on that list get your attention?
Well, for me, Newcastle, Aston Villa, easily, and Brighton, Luton, because I watched the playoffs and I saw what Luton did. It hurts me because I wanted to see Cov back in the Premier League. But then certainly Brighton, I know they would destroy Luton, but because it's their first game back, maybe they would pull a surprise. For Newcastle, Villa, we've seen them play. We've seen that new direction. Unai Emery has got in a couple of good players.
Yeah, he has.
And the way they played over pre-season, I'm really, really looking forward to this fixture, because it would be like a future. It would tell us more about what preparing for the future will look like for Champions League spots, and even for titles as well.
Interesting. Sydney, share your thoughts on Newcastle Villa?
Yeah. I agree with him perfectly, because it's going to be hard to see James Park as well. And actually, I said, I think they did play in the summer series.
Yes,
Newcastle was a 3-3 or
3-3, yeah.
A very, very interesting game. And if that is a preview of what's happening tomorrow, I can't wait. And actually, I said, the Aston Villa are looking really, really good. They have brought in a lot of good purchases. Although Buendia had that setback.
Yeah, it looks like he's out.
Yeah. But apart from him, I think they have put together a very solid team. They have that shows you the benefit of having a good sporting director with Monchi there directing the Homes of Affairs and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And also with respect to the Brighton Luton, I'll call it here first. Luton to be relegated by the 30th game week. I don't think they're bringing anything new, because they haven't brought anybody. They've brought in a couple of championship guys. I don't know.
They've brought in Ross Barkley, Marvelous Nakamba, and they brought in people that have a bit of Premier League experience. They will do something special. Let's just watch.
Out by game week 30. I've called it.
We are all here. But I'm hoping Harry Maguire might go to West Ham soon, so that I'll enjoy the Bournemouth West Ham game.
Bournemouth West Ham. We'll see. Harry Maguire. He's the subject really of a bid. Well, the bid was accepted by Man United, £30 million or so. All right, just before we leave, let's have a look at the FPL code for the season. So this is the Citi Sports Fantasy League Premier Code. Those Premier League code, those who have been asking me, there it is, AG493I. Enter this in the league bit of the Fantasy League website or the Premier League app, and then you are part of the Citi Sports FPL League or Fantasy Premier League, FP League, for the season. This should be interesting. We'll see who wins at the end of the season. Last season, I didn't do too well. In the in-house league, it was really poor.
Did you get relegated?
No, I did not.
Okay. Who got relegated?
I need to check, but
Was it Jude?
So I need to do better. I'm sure, guys, we are all looking forward to FPL. I'm sure people planned for Harry Kane, but no more Kane.
He was in my team till about 2 p.m.
No more Harry Kane.
Exactly, too bad for us.
Okay, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yao. Thank you, Sydney. And thank you out there for watching. It's the first episode of the Premier League preview show for the new season. Like I keep saying, the games are live on Citi 97.3 FM. So catch all the action over the weekend, Monday night, all through the season. We'll give you every single game, every single update, every single bit of the new Premier League campaign. And of course, this show will run the entire length of the season. So this show will be supporting the coverage and giving you a lovely preview ahead of every match week of the season. My name is Nathan Kwao. Many thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week with another exciting episode. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the new Premier League season.